St Kilda great Nicky Winmar. So second quarter underway here at Patterson Stadium. The Saints doing very well. They're up by 25 points. Pavlich an opportunity. Well done by Armitage, applying some pressure. Umpire letting it go. Mundy does well. 5. Now De Boer. Kicks it wide towards half forward. Van Berlo at the back. Dawson almost took the mark. Now a little fumble. Now he finds himself in trouble. Crowley does well. And his handball intended for 5, just missing the target, and we'll get a boundary throw. In fact, it was Van Berlo out wide on the half-forward line, so a boundary throw in half-forward for the Dockers.
St Kilda dominated every area of the statistics in the first quarter. Inside 50, 16-8, and the clearances, they were clear winners as well. So Fremantle getting the first centre clearance would be one of the areas that Mark Harvey would have been pretty concerned about.
Saints win this clearance and gain 50 metres, get the ball back to the wing. I'd imagine Mark Harvey at quarter time might have reminded his players that St Kilda made a flying start against Hawthorn a couple of weeks back and then totally fell over and were thrashed. And it's a very warm day here. Won't be easy for the Saints as the match wears on. Already they're a man down. Goddard, Mundy, Pavlich. Fremantle just starting to do a little better in those clearance contests. Milne working back, as most of the Saints have been, and then they've scored on the reversal. Good effort by Mzungu going with the flight. In the end, Fremantle do win the footy, and Mzungu it is who gets the kick away to Fife. Takes it the wrong way, just couldn't find the right option, and Milne getting the important hand in before Pavlich getting into, out of trouble, and then kicking to one-on-one in the 50. Montagna, Broughton with him, inside to Schneider on that trusty old left. Under pressure, Armitage on the trusty left, and misses. The near side at that end's been popular.
Yeah, really good pressure again on centre wing from the Saints. Nathan Fife with clean hands, his left foot kick turned over, and you can see how quickly they're able to transition it through and creating some really good options inside 50, the Saints.
So McFarlane towards the wing, fisted away by McAvoy. Chance for Duffield, does well. And through Hill they bring it out, although over the head of the intended target, Ballantyne. Now Dempster, Dawson, McAvoy and Gwilt. Back to Dempster. Good pressure at the moment by the Dockers, I should say. McAvoy off to Ray. Awkward looking kick towards half forward. Chopped off by Ibbotson, although he gives it straight up to Stephen. Here's another opportunity, a vacant goal square. So he decides to go wide to Schneider. Back to Stephen. Lines up from 30. That's a really disappointing finish. In fact, the ball stays in play for the moment. Grover. A little handball to himself. Not quite sure that was wise. Stephen trying to redeem himself. Revolt. Good desperate stuff there by Lynch. Diving on the ball. Shovels it out to Schneider. Handball intended for Fisher. They're under the pump here, the Dockers. Armitage. Pete can kick a goal from the top of the goal square. It's coming back, but it is wide.
Free kick. St Kilda's way, so advantage not taken. The umpire has decided, which I'm a little confused about. That was exactly what he said.
Well, this is where I get confused, because the new rule, which I don't agree with, I think it should be back with the umpires, but it is with the players. So if the player plays on, why would the umpire bring it back?
Well, we can only go by what he said. He said advantage not taken. Armitage picks it up, so there's the free kick. My understanding is if Pete decides to have a shot, then that stands, but a little bit of fortune in the way of St Kilda. Armitage gets an opportunity directly in front, shouldn't miss.
So he comes in from 20 metres and pops it through. St Kilda have 5. So the margin out now to 32 points in favour of the Saints in the early part of the second quarter.
This is on the back of some great pressure. Again, Jack Stevens' initial shot on goal wasn't great. As we look at the push in the back is what's being paid, but I love the way he followed up Stephen. He pushed all the way into the forward pocket, tackled pressure, kept the ball inside their forward half of the ground, and a goal is the result.
Looking ugly for the Fremantle Dockers, down by 32 points. Looking ugly in the injury room too. Aaron Sipos has now gone down to the rooms with a sore shoulder for St Kilda, and Hayden Ballantyne off the ground for the second time with a shoulder problem, shoulder neck. He also has gone into the rooms.
So another advantage controversy there. And I've got to say, a problem with the execution of this rule is that it's confusing for everyone watching the game too. And the rules are meant to be understandable. We haven't got a clue just why the advantage wasn't paid there, and that the behind didn't stand. We'll have to have it explained to us during the week. Now, really, that is not adequate. The game's meant to be simple. Fans are meant to be able to understand it. Free kick to McFarlane here for being held, and the Fremantle fans give vent to their rage.
Well, they might have had some misfortune there with the advantage rule going against them, Fremantle, but I'll tell you what, their effort and their intensity to start this game is well below standard, and Mark Harvey will be filthy with the way they're going about at the moment, just nowhere near the intent St Kilda have got.
And this is about 4 times in this quarter they've given the ball up in midfield, just with sloppy hand passes that have been chopped off. It's become repetitive from the Dockers, and it's being reflected on the scoreboard, where they trail by 32 points.
Their intensity, I reckon, is lifted, but as you say, Tim, just their execution with skills is not great at the moment. Mundy an opportunity. Well tackled by Peake. Crichton. Well done by Stephen, hacking a kick towards half forward, but chopped off by Ibbotson. Now a chance for Broughton, and his kick finds the mark. Taken by Palmer, just backward of the centre circle. So he's got Pavlich running for him wide, and Pavlich marks comfortably on his chest. That's about a handball to the running Hill. Now Hill can run to 50. Here's a wonderful finisher, and this is just missing, just clipping the inside of the goalpost, if you don't mind. So Fremantle still yet to score a major in this match.
Well, there's Buddy Franklin and there's Cyril Rioli, and there are many others, but is there a better sight in league football today than Stephen Hill loping down the ground like that and using that left boot? He didn't quite get the maximum result. Fremantle continue to be frustrated. Play on called, and Main comes in hard, but Del Santo released the kick just in time. Sam Fisher, safe pair of hands. Well, I reckon McAvoy took that ball over quite deliberately, but he was virtually on the line, so the umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt.
Third time so far in the game, Ben McAvoy's had a really good look at the footy, got strong hands on it, just not quite able to bring the grab down. And as I said before, that will be the next area of his development.
Well done to Griffin. Oh, gee, a little fumble from Main was just a critical issue there. Got the handball. Wasn't the greatest of handball, but he just had a fumble. He may have had an opportunity to at least have a shot at goal, but it wasn't to be. So they've been able to lock it in at least in their forward 50, the Dockers. Griffin, who's doing well. Ball to the front. Chance for Winmar. Good tackle to Ball. And Winmar retains hold of the football, and the umpire will bounce deep in the forward pocket for Fremantle.
Tim Gossage, you've got some news on Brendan Goddard.
Yeah, Brendan Goddard still talking, feeling marginally better. He's going to Sir Charles Gardner Hospital, which is about 5 minutes from here. They're waiting for the arrival of the ambulance. He's more worried about his gear and what he's going to wear when he leaves the hospital.
And a boundary throw in there as Hill takes it over. Thanks, Tim.
And also the St Kilda were very appreciative of the work of the Fremantle Dockers doctor and medical staff are on hand to help him as well. Well,
that's great news. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and get more from Brendan Goddard hopefully very soon. So the kick out of defence by the Saints, chopped off by Grover. Fife kicks it back to centre half forward to Broughton.
One thing about St Kilda over the last 3 seasons where they have been playing in grand finals and competing is they're well organised, and today they've got their structures going beautifully.
And good mark taken by McAvoy. Broughton just chipped it up to a spot 20 metres from goal.
And that's the highlight reel that you want to see from Ben McAvoy. And I'm rapt to see him. He's been in the right spot on so many occasions, but what a difference that makes to your side. When you clunk one, all of a sudden you get possession of the footy. You can go back and just reset here, as Nick Riewold's able to do.
Everyone working a long way up the ground. There will be some very tired boys tonight, as the commentators used to say in the black and white days. Here goes Stephen, Fisher, Schneider, back to Fisher, and the Saints hold it together in tight. The Dockers are failing to do that. Peake on the break, giving him something is Milne. Peake, though, goes long, and the Saints get the goal. Peake second. They're doing everything right.
What a great play from Brett Peake on his old ground. He knows this situation so well, and that was why St Kilda recruited Brett Peake. They loved his speed. They wanted to run and carry. It was a player they didn't have a lot of. And he is really just up and running in this game today against his old side. Sensational goal.
Second goal, a brilliant, electrifying goal from Brett Peake, and has set the Fremantle crowd right back, the back of their seats. They are stunned. Saints out by 37 points. McAvoy down towards Montagna, taken by Fisher, well smothered by Pavlich. Now a chance for Ray. Good tackle by Ballantyne. So he looks to recovered from that shoulder problem and is back out on the ground. So a bounce between half forward and centre for the Dockers. And there's the Ballantyne tackle on Ray, a beauty. So becoming more desperate by the minute, the Dockers. McAvoy wins it down again, held up in the pack. So another bounce.
Brett Peake recruited to St Kilda for that exact reason, for that speed, ability to run and carry the footy. He knows this ground here so well, and he's been really able to provide some sparks so far for the Saints today.
Pavlich inside attacking 50 to Ball, well tackled by Gwilt. Oh, brilliant spin from Dawson, but he coughs it up. Ballantyne held without it. No free kicks as the umpire. Docker fans don't like it. Palmer, handball too fierce for Pavlich. Milne puts a step on now, out to Gwilt, to Fisher at centre half back, and at the moment St Kilda have got all the answers, and a good kick finds Lynch.
Real contrast there for me, Brett. It was in fact Stephen Milne went really hard for the footy as Rewalt takes the mark, and it was Hayden Ballantyne throwing his arms out trying to play for a free kick. Didn't get it. St Kilda a lot harder at the moment.
That was a beautiful kick by Lynch to Rewalt. Revolt's to Milne was even better. And he's 45, almost 50 metres out and right on the boundary. But the way things are flowing at the moment, nothing would surprise you here. And Stephen Milne, I'd imagine, will be thinking just that. He's always the one for some bold optimism in these circumstances. The Saints by 37 points. This has been quite extraordinary. From 48, he's always near side. But the Dockers are still goalless, and they scarcely look like kicking one.
Muzungu a full back for the Dockers. St Kilda have got a full press on, and the Dockers flooding one side of the ground. So this will be interesting as the kick to Hill hoops up. Couldn't hold on. Spectacular leap. Fisher. Close quarters to Winmar, who scrangs it forward off the side of the boot. Free kick to the Dockers at half back.
Just their zone really well, St Kilda. They read the play, saw that, as you call Chris Fremantle, really favouring this commentary side of the ground here at Patterson Stadium. They just closed the space in around them.
So the kick towards the wing, Fife almost, but he gathers at ground level. Now here's an opportunity. Handball not great for Pavlich. Now the Dockers in trouble. Fisher off to Schneider. Winmar kicks it towards Revolt. Had too much on the kick, and McFarlane did cleverly to just push him under the contest and retreat back, but a boundary throw in the forward pocket.
They are
for St Kilda.
all at sea at the moment, the Dockers. They're not hard enough, and their skills, basic handballs, basic kicks, are really simple parts of the game. They just can't get anything going at all.
Dockers have got to defend hard here. Pavlich, Revolt there too, is opposite number.
It's almost contagious, Tim. I mean, even the superstar Pav, I mean, that's a couple of fumbles at ground level. When he's playing really well, that just doesn't happen. Fife's handball. It's a 2-metre handball that misses, puts Pavlich under unnecessary pressure, flowing through the whole side at the moment. It's
as though they're spooked by the Saints, who they haven't beaten for a long time, and perhaps the Sun. They almost look as though they're going at half pace. Here's Main for Fremantle. Now Mundy. Now there's virtually no one forward of him. He's got to tread water, but he can't afford to stop. And he gives to Crowley, who wasn't able to get far enough forward to make this shot a really comfortable one. He's got to kick it from outside 50. They just need a goal to get started, to get some belief. Now he's taken a bit of a risk, but he's done it well, and Duffield will line them up from about 10 metres closer. So this becomes a shot that should be converted. Duffield goalless this year, just 19 in his 77 games before today. So not a noted converter. Right now he's got to grit the teeth and just do it. Team 38 points down. The climb starts here. And he's done it. He's nailed it. The crowd were applauding before it was halfway there.
That's the only time I can remember the Dockers going forward with some real organisation and some real intent. They've had a handful of inside 50s, but they've all been under pressure, scrambled forward, kicks to packs in contested situations. Well, that was a turnover at halfback. They got it through the corridor, and they had the space and the awareness to hit up a leading target. Long overdue.
So Paul Duffield kicks Fremantle's first goal 15 minutes into the second quarter. Maybe it can be a spark for them. Kepler Bradley in the ruck to do battle against McAvoy. McAvoy easily. Polo couldn't control it. Stephen. Polo with pressure from Main. Now the Dockers an opportunity. Well played by Van Berlo. Gave it straight up to Milne though. And a high tackle. And the umpire signalling the wrong way initially, confusing the Fremantle fans. St Kilda free kick. So Del Santo spreads it wide to Gwilt. Gilbert made position, attacking side of the wing. No pressure on the mark from Pavley, so he's able to wander off, kick it deep inside attacking 50. Chance for Ibbotson. Now, as he tackled high, Fremantle fans wanted it. Now a chance for Armitage, working his way clear, kicks it back to Milne, who doesn't take the mark. Picked up by Polo. Stephen threads it back. Handball missed the mark, although missed in turn by Palmer. Jones, high to the pocket. Chance for Armitage, couldn't take it. Gee, Bradley was held a long time in the tackle. No free kick. Sipos back to Gilbert. Gilbert from Hunt up against the line. Deep in the forward pocket. Tries to bring it back. Can't. Behind only to St Kilda.
Nick Riewoldt in strife. I watched him right throughout that situation. He looked as though his collarbone went back unbelievably courageously with the flight, and since then he hasn't been able to lift his right arm up. Trainer came out, and I thought he was coming off the ground, but just hanging in there in the kick-out situation, but definitely trying to get himself off the ground. Riewoldt.
McAvoy there. Fife. Another steal by the Saints. Montagna. Lovely long ball. Very long ball. Another goal.
Great finish again from Lee Montagna. He's brought his A game so far in this game. His second goal, 11 disposals. You can see Riewoldt's trying to get off the ground. And they are taking every one of their opportunities. The Saints. It's been a brilliant start. Well, there's the good news. Here's Nick Riewoldt. He's stayed out in the ground. As always, no regard for his own safety in any situation. Looked as though he was trying to get straight off the ground, but he stayed out there. So it might just be the old-fashioned stinger, Crusoe.
Yeah. Looks to be okay. So the margin out to 39. Blake wins it to Del Santo. Ray around the body towards half-foot Peak almost. Couldn't quite hold on. Milne does well to tap it to Peak outside of the boot. Riewoldt. Brilliant pickup it was. Wide towards Fisher. Awkward looking kick, but it's okay. It's effective. Mark taken by Armitage. Just the bare 15, if at all.
How good's that from Riewoldt?
This is a brilliant pickup. Look at that. Absolutely sensational. Handballing in the one motion.
Given the fact that 30 seconds before he couldn't move his right arm, next contest he's involved in, he just committed himself to it, had his eyes firmly on the footy, and in one motion to be able to shovel that out. Just incredible stuff.
So David Armitage here with an opportunity to extend the lead to 45 points. Just missing. So the margin out to 40 points now, and we watch the Riewoldt work again. Almost resulting in a goal.
Yeah, it's what you tell kids down at Auskick, isn't it? When you play any ball sport, you focus in on the ball and nothing else. And you can just see Riewoldt's eyes there, and he never ever took them off the footy. He was able to pick that up so cleanly.
Broughton goes down the line, and the Dockers win the ball. Ballantyne under pressure though, dispossessed. Saints work in close, has been of the highest order. Brings back memories. What is different? Different is that the goals continue to come from the midfield. 7 out of 7 today. 2 to Jones, 2 to Montagna, 2 to Peake, 1 to Armitage. Should have been 2 to Armitage, missed a moment ago. And they haven't been major contributors prior to this season. McAvoy getting it onto his boot, no result. Pavlich all tied up.
They've got some really good matchups working for them as well around the contest. Sean Dempster's taken Hayden Ballantyne right out of the contest. We know that they get a lot of spark out of him. Clinton Jones has got the job on Stephen Hill. He's had a couple of flashy moments, but not really the impact that his coach would want.
Wilt's been good, using the right boot here. Only uses it in an emergency. Dangerous spill. Whistle's gone.
Saints way.
St Kilda free kick. It'll be a shot for goal from 30.
Just Grover making front on contact there, Tim. He took his eyes off the ball and ran back at Sipos. So you look at this. Grover decides to turn around. You make front on contact. That's a free kick.
So Aaron Sipos to line them up. He's kicked 4 goals in his 3 games and could be classed as a forward. He could be the first forward to actually kick a goal here for the Saints, and he puts it right through the middle and they go further ahead.
Aaron Sipos, A-R-R-Y-N, one of the funky new names that the young guys have coming through, just 18 years of age in his 4th game. And that's a big moment for him to not take his eyes off the footy, Chriso, which I really like seeing for a young man. He knew the pressure was coming and he earned the free kick.
And a good pickup for the Saints. Drafted number 75 last year, so had an immediate impact. Now these are live pictures with Brendan Goddard being transferred into an ambulance to go to Charles Gardner Hospital. But the positive is that he's been talking and looks to be in the best possible way at the moment. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there that everything's okay. From the bounce, chance for Del Santo, just toe poking it towards half forward Lynch. Del Santo off a step, he kicks into the pocket. Almost a clever effort. Well done by the Dockers. They clear now through Broughton. And it's well done off to Lower. Muzungu, oh gee, didn't make a good fist of that. Turnover, Del Santo wide to Stephen. Stephen, little handball to Milne. Feeds it back. Ray's got a good look at them from 50. Wobbly old kick wide of the play. And Van Berlo allows it to hit the behind post. So a boundary throw in deep in the right forward pocket for the Saints.
Used to hear a lot last year about Saints footy and the brand that they wanted to impose on the rest of the competition. This is exactly what made them an unbelievable side in the last 3 years. They closed the opposition down. They score themselves. Fremantle at the moment have got no answers at all to what is going on. They've got the right matchups around the middle of the ground. They're shutting down the key players they need to shut down, and they're creating opportunities for their gun players as well. And given Goddard we just saw on his way to hospital, it's been a remarkable effort.
Oh, Schneider brought down there. That was close to a free kick. As the crowded tussle for the footy goes on. And eventually there'll be a ball up. Look at that mess of players.
And that's what they were so good at and have been so good at for so long. They're just starting to get that back. Love the contested situation. Happy to have numbers in their own forward half of the ground. Back themselves in. Wear the opposition down one-on-one. Tackle harder. Win more contested possession. You can just see, look at the effort. 3 or 4 Saints piling in on top. And the Dockers just look lifeless at the moment.
The manner of creation of their goals, though, is different, isn't it? And it's Saints footy Mark II, perhaps. Who knows where it might lead. Umpire Jeffrey pounding it down. Sam Fisher gets in there to Lower. Dispossessed. Dockers giving up the ball so often in these contests. Ballantyne just kicking and hoping to get a result. He gets a result all right, but it's not the one he wanted. Here go the Saints again. Dawson is good with that left boot, and on the end of it, well, it's a mark and it's a free kick.
It'll be 52, and they're going after Hayden Ballantyne because it was late. And they don't want to get this reversed. They have they? Oh, no. He's done exactly what he wanted to do, Hayden Ballantyne. And credit to him. He's a pest. He's the greatest pest in the game, and he sucked them right in there with that.
Well, that's one of the Saints' first major mistakes today, and the offending player will be entitled to expect a rocket. Ballantyne, a long ball. Johnson climbing in. On such moments, games can swing. Fremantle free kick. Suddenly the crowd getting involved.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on that moment. 5.25 minutes remaining in the first half. Ballantyne just got under the skin of Snyder. I reckon it might have been. It was a 50-metre penalty walk-in goal. Reversal. Is this a little bit of a spark for the Dockers?
McFarlane over the top to Crichton, who kicks wide towards De Boer. He can't prevent it from going over, and De Boer just thought about motioning to Crichton there. Wonderful opportunity. Now, this is the incident involving Ballantyne and the reversal. Umpire Jeffrey right on the spot there.
So they lost a 50 and a free kick. It's a big swing, isn't it?
Beautiful tap to Duffield. He runs to 50 now. One out in the goal square. Main and Dawson. Oh, gee, Dawson did brilliantly. Fisted it away to Dempster. Now to Gwilt, and Saints out of trouble. Gee, for a moment he was always in trouble there, Dawson, but he did brilliantly. Now Van Berlo tracking it. Well done, Winmar, applying some pressure. Lynch brought down by Ballantyne. Well played by Hayden Ballantyne. His handball, though, was astray. Good pressure coming from Dempster, and they bring it away, St Kilda. Chance here for Armitage. Off to Revolt. Front of the centre square. Drives it deep towards Pete. Pavlich. Too big, too strong.
Too good and desperately needed. He gives to Crichton. Well, Fremantle had a 2-on-1 out on the outer wing, and they really should have won that contest. They finished up barely preventing St Kilda from kicking another goal. It has been an insipid performance so far, and one doesn't say that lightly or often, because this is an elite competition, but it's been a very poor effort, admittedly, against a revved up and impressive opponent.
A little bit going in off the footy here. De Boer and Montagna. And on the borderline, the boys there. The old-fashioned jumper punch.
That's a minute or two ago. Play goes on here. Duffield, who's kicked Fremantle's only goal and has been one of their better performers. His kick here is not great. And Zach Dawson has done many a good thing today. Not sure whether holding the ball above his head is one of them, but anyway, he's executed that old ploy, and he delivers to Farron Ray.
Yeah, you're right. In a couple of big moments, Zach's had one-on-ones. His defensive effort before, when he was way out of position on Main, I think it was a goal-saving effort.
Ray high towards half forward. Pavlich, ball to the back. Montagna. A little handball along the line. Chance for Sipos. Did it well. Handball inside. Armitage had to stretch, but got there. Good pressure. Now a chance for Broughton. Needs to be clean here. Handball had too much on it for Van Berlo. Boundary throw-in the forward pocket.
What's the difference in when a St Kilda player has the footy? He's got time and the ability to run away. As Lee Montagna's.
See, off the shoulder look.
Got half a jumper hanging off.
Looking more like Tarzan.
Fremantle, when they get the footy, they are under enormous pressure.
And De Boer put him down again. Chance for Fisher, off to Stephen. Another goal here would really hurt. No, Mark not taken by Lynch. Had an opportunity. Jones and Hill. So another boundary thrown in the opposite pocket.
So De Boer's obviously been set for Lee Montagna. Really try and take him out of the game. Montagna 2 goals, 12 possessions, 8 of those contested. He's had 3 clearances, so really needs to try and lock down on Montagna.
Bradley in the ruck for Fremantle in that exchange, banging it back to the line. Still plenty to stay interested in this game. The margin out to 46, but it is a very hot day. St Kilda a man down. If they copped another injury, well, who knows what could happen in this second half. It could be a day for a major reversal, but Fremantle will have to improve out of sight. Mzungu bangs it clear in the Crowley direction, but he was overpowered. Ballantyne did well, but the numbers stacked against him, and Gwilt takes it over, and he's gone. No, it's going to be thrown in.
Lucky.
I reckon the umpire paused and had a serious think about that one, but Jacob Mollison decided that he would let Gwilt off, and I reckon he's a bit lucky.
He hasn't got a great poker face, Gwilt, because he looked at the umpire almost apologetically.
High tackle on Duffield. Now he's got a player. Oh, that's got to be 50 metres, surely.
It's got to be.
And Fremantle fans not happy. He clearly stepped over the mark, Schneider.
Oh, that's extraordinary.
So he's forced to go back to Crichton. He's got Duffield short again. Gee, just a minute 40 left in the half, and Fremantle would love a goal just to try and build some sort of momentum going into the long break. Nick Lower with it on centre wing. Not much on. Very stagnant in front of him. The big man Griffin's there. He's got to plonk it on his head, I think. It's his best option. He does exactly that. So there'll be a contest at half forward. Griffin at the back, got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Jones fighting hard with Hill at the base of the pack, and a bounce 55 metres from Fremantle's goal.
There's the 50-metre penalty that we probably thought was there, with Snyder edging over the mark. In fact, like a certain 50.
Well, it was very significant too, because he had men running loose ahead of him, and if he was able to get the kick away, Fremantle had a real chance at it. Here's Pavlich, and he's got the fumbles. It's all gone wrong for the Dockers. They really need to regroup at the long interval, which is less than a minute away.
Had a bit of the footy, Pav, 11 disposals, but hasn't had anything that's been damaging, or had it in the half of the ground where he's either set up goals or scored himself. So they're really on top. Here he is now, and again, just being taken off the footy. He'll get a free kick.
Fremantle's worst ever first half on their home ground was against St Kilda 7 years ago, 2004. 1 goal for, which is exactly what they are now, although they might be about to improve on that. And St Kilda were 8 goals for at halfway in that game. But Nathan Fyfe can make a mark on that little bit of history right here.
He certainly made a mark this season, Nathan Fyfe. His second year in the AFL. He's averaging 27 disposals a game, coming off 30 last week. Really exciting young player, this man.
Just 4 kicks up until now, and a few hand passes, and he's missed that. So at least they avoid comparison in the history book with that 2004 team. But that's all, because they're still 45 points down, and barring something pretty major here by the Saints, by way of catastrophe, that's the way it's going to be. Clock doesn't tick until, well, the umpire's called play on, and Del Santo just gives it off via a short option, and that'll be it. And the Saints, are they back? They're certainly showing good signs. 8 goals to 1 in the opening half. The Dockers are stunned, the crowd stunned. The Saints lead by 45.
Well, just got to cast your mind back to 12 months ago. This is the sort of footy you'd expect week in, week out from St Kilda. They walk in at half-time feeling as though everything they planned came to shape today. The big story, though, Brendan Goddard in hospital. Let's hope he's okay.